Hi there. Today I'm going to repair a rear brake caliper for a 2023 Husqvarna 300 two-stroke. And I don't know, they were at a poker run and I don't know, they hit a rock or something and busted this dude off. So kind of take a look at the brake. I'm going to swing around a little better light here. Yeah, it's broken through and through. So it's actually pretty far away from the bore for the piston. So I think I can, strategically weld it without warping the bore. Initially, I had them leave the piston in, but the sucker's going to get hot. So I think, I went ahead and took the piston out and the seals and any other rubber part that's on here. But this is a sturdy enough casting. I don't think I'm going to get distortion on the bore for the piston. And if I get everything right, and I'm banking that I will, I wouldn't even attempt it if I didn't think I could. It should, the caliper should float on its carrier just so. The piston should deploy and retract as it should. So I had them bring me this shark fin, this aftermarket shark fin that it mounts to. And the slider pin goes in there, so I've got both pins for alignment. That's key. And then this dude, oh, sorry, I'm one-handing this with my phone. This dude, this dude goes on here. Index is on this pin. How does that go? Oh, I took the seal out of this. Oh, I might have to put the seal back in, or the dust cover for the slider. Apparently that's not a machine fit in there. I may have to put that back in for just to kind of help me align it. But just seeing how that fits, that kind of lets me know that it can just be close. If I don't get it, if it's 5 thousandths off or something, it'll still be okay. So that dude will line up with there, and sitting on the table, so it's sitting kind of high. I have to block there. That's more like it. So I'll get that prepared, and I'll make the weld. So, if you got a guy who knows how to weld aluminum, I'm doing this one for my buddy for free. They're good friends. And so yeah, this is a freebie. I like helping people when I can. We have an event coming up in a couple of weeks, and this, I think like to replace this with a Brembo part is like $700, and even a new one. This, I'm not sure if this is like a KTM or Husky or whatever. It's still like $500-600, or a used one's a couple hundred, and who knows what kind of condition it's in. So anyway, I'm going to save them some bucks, and we're going to go ride dirt bikes. But if you look at this casting, it has like some kind of gray stuff, some kind of gray coating on it. I don't know what that is. I started prepping it a little bit. I'm not there yet, but all that has to come off. It has to be totally clean. I mean, there can't be anything gray. You got to get down to bare white metal everywhere. Everywhere there's going to be weld, has it right down into the little corners and everything. So I have a number of selected implements that I'm going to use to achieve that. I've got a really pointy kind of conical die grinder bit. I'm sure I'm going to end up using that. I've got a cutting wheel. I can get into some corners, just kind of carefully get in there and like sand with it, the very edge of it. I've got a conical sanding cone. Those are decent for getting into some places. A little more of a rounded point die grinder bit, and then a 2-inch sander, and I get into some tight corners with that also. Scotch-Brite, I don't know how much I'm going to use that, but those are some of the cool tools you need. You absolutely have to get all the gray off. I imagine if you just walked into, a commercial welding shop, they're probably going to want $100 to a couple $100 to do this for you. If you find a little mom and pop guy, he might do it for $100. Just make sure they really know what they're doing, how to work on these parts. I'm going for 100% penetration on this, and I'll explain how I'm going to get that as we move along. Okay, so I've got it prepped. And if you look in that little trough there, you see that there is not a speck of that gray. And as it turned out, that gray was actually anodizing, which is a coating that's actually harder than the aluminum itself. So it was a bugger. I had to use that pinpoint die grinder bit to get into all the corners, but I'm probably going to fill that trough for strength. But it just cannot be overemphasized how clean it has to be. Everywhere where you're going to lap onto weld, this is a rough casting, and so the anodizing is into the grain of into the texture of the casting, and that all has to be gone. There can't be a speck of that, not one speck. So this piece, the actual bracket that broke off, is I am going to have to deal with a machine surface. This is a machine surface, and I had to sand the anodizing back, but I only took as much as I needed, and I tried to take just the anodizing, and then I left the back portion of it where my thumb is. I left the anodizing intact. That gives me a reference point when I remachine. I'll probably sand it real close and then file it to perfection and kind of wipe a Sharpie all over it so you can kind of see where you're filing. But yeah, completely clean. Try not to distort the break, the fractured area. You need that to fit kissy. And then I'll probably tack it on both ends, like here and here, and then carve out the inside so we can get 100% weld. So if you're going to if you think you're going to help your welder, if you're not the welder on this, you're going to take it to a guy and he wants you to prep it for him. Don't do anything with the fracture. Just prep the surfaces around where he's going to lap around with weld. Figure 1/2 inch back, 3/8 back, all the way, everywhere where he might lap weld onto. And just take the coating. Don't take any metal, or as little metal as you possibly can. But yeah, every nook and cranny has to be clean. And if you're an aluminum welder, well, you know that, especially dealing with anodizing. So I put this guide / dust cover back in. It'll help me with alignment. So I'm going to have this pin in. I coated it in anti-seize so it won't gall on the way out. I don't want it getting into my weld joint, so I went sparingly, but it's covered 100%. Okay, there it is, ready to tack together. Okay, so I've got it tacked on the ends, and it slides real nice in its holder. Now it's time to carve it out. It's kind of hot, but you can see it. It slides on both pins. It's good. Okay, there's channeled out one side with that vicious dude. There's first root pass. Sorry, I'm not really set up to film me welding. And there it's carved out on the other side. Okay, there's the other root pass. Get that to focus. Okay, there's second root pass on this side. The other thing I've been doing, I've been pouring water in the bore. It kind of runs out, but it kind of keeps things cool. We don't want to distort that bore. And it never did boil. Just a little residual in the bottom would boil. I put it back on the carrier and it still slides, still smooth. Now that it's fully rooted in both sides. 2 passes on this side, 1 good pass on that. It's 100% weld so far. So yeah, there's a little cover pass on there. We got some more to do. I need to let the part cool. But hey, thanks for watching Krusty Cycle. Appreciate it. Hey, I got more cool vintage bike stuff coming up. The season's changing where those events come around. In the meantime, I'm just kind of doing anything motorcycle related. So like and subscribe. Okay, there it is. It's done. It's excellent. I put the pin back in. No need to grind off any weld. It's probably 75 to 85% as strong as the original casting. I use 5356 alloy. And the piston still slides in it. Like butter. And it still goes up and down on the pins. Just so. Butter. Another successful job. Done and done.